For years, I thought it was normal. Every night, without fail, my eyes would open at exactly 3 in the morning, as if my body had an internal alarm I couldn't turn off. At first I ignored it, tried to go back to sleep, tossed and turned in bed for hours. But over time, that nighttime awakening became my worst enemy. I would get up exhausted, irritable, and felt like my body was aging faster than it should. I'm 73 years old, and let me tell you something. I've lived long enough to know when my body is sending me alarm signals. For decades, I worked as a natural health educator, helping thousands of people recover their well-being. But there I was, waking up every early morning feeling weaker, more confused, more lost in my own body. The doctors told me it was normal at my age, that insomnia was part of aging. They offered me sleeping pills, anxiolytics, all kinds of medications that only numbed the symptoms but never attacked the root of the problem. I knew something deeper was happening. My intuition was screaming that this 3 a.m. awakening was no coincidence, so I began my own research. I reviewed ancient texts of traditional Chinese medicine, studied circadian rhythms, analyzed my diet, my lifestyle, every detail of my routine. And what I discovered left me breathless. I not only found the reason behind my nighttime awakenings, but I discovered 5 fundamental truths that completely transformed my life. Today, at 73 years old, I sleep like I haven't in decades. I wake up renewed with energy, feeling younger than when I was 60. What I'm going to share with you isn't magic. These aren't tricks or quick fixes. These are truths backed by ancestral wisdom and modern science. These are the secrets our grandparents knew, but modern society has completely forgotten. The first revelation came when I understood what was happening in my body at exactly 3 in the morning. According to traditional Chinese medicine, each organ has its own peak activity schedule. Between 1 and 3 in the morning, it's the liver's turn. And between 3 and 5, the lungs take over. My body wasn't waking me up without reason. My liver was crying out for help. The liver is like our body's cleaning center. It processes everything we eat, neutralizes toxins, regulates our hormones, stores vital nutrients. When it's overloaded, when it's struggling to keep up with the amount of work we're giving it, it manifests in ways we never imagined. And one of those manifestations is waking us up in the middle of the night. For years, without knowing it, I had been overloading my liver. I ate late at night. I consumed processed foods more often than I'd like to admit. I took medications for chronic pain that I had developed in my joints. Each of these things, seemingly harmless on its own, had accumulated like a mountain of stress on my poor liver. But here comes the interesting part. The liver doesn't just process physical toxins, it also processes emotions. In Chinese medicine, the liver is associated with anger, frustration, resentment. All those emotions we keep that we don't express, that we let ferment inside us, lodge in the liver. And I, for years, had been carrying frustrations, silent angers, resentments I had never properly processed. So the first thing that changed my life was understanding that I needed to cleanse my liver, both physically and emotionally. I started doing intermittent fasting, leaving at least 14 hours between my last meal and breakfast. This gave my liver time to regenerate, to do its cleaning work without having to constantly process new food. I eliminated processed foods completely. Nothing that came in a box, nothing with ingredients I couldn't pronounce. I dramatically increased my consumption of leafy green vegetables, especially bitter ones like arugula and dandelion, which are like medicine for the liver. I incorporated turmeric into my daily diet, that golden root that is one of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatories. But most importantly, and what many overlook, is that I began working on my emotional health. I started writing in a journal every night, letting out all those frustrations, all those small angers that accumulate during the day. I learned to forgive, not just others, but myself. To release those emotional burdens I had been carrying as if they were part of my permanent luggage. The results weren't immediate, but they didn't take long either. After 2 weeks, I began to notice that some nights I slept until 4 in the morning, then 5, and eventually I began sleeping through the entire night. It was as if my body sighed with relief. The second transformation came when I discovered the critical role of blood sugar. It turns out that waking at 3 in the morning isn't only related to the liver. It can also be a sign that your sugar levels are dropping too low during the night. When this happens, your body goes into emergency mode. It releases cortisol and adrenaline to raise those levels, and those stress hormones wake you up abruptly. I had been eating simple carbohydrates for dinner. Bread, pasta, things that quickly elevated my blood sugar and then let it plummet during the night. It was like being on a metabolic roller coaster, and my body was paying the price. The solution was surprisingly simple, but incredibly effective. I completely changed my dinner. Now I have quality protein, healthy fats, and vegetables for dinner. No refined carbohydrates at night. A piece of salmon with avocado and an abundant salad became my favorite evening meal. This kept my sugar levels stable throughout the night. I also started taking a tablespoon of coconut oil before bed. It may sound strange, but the medium-chain fats in coconut oil provide a constant and sustained source of energy during the night, avoiding those dramatic sugar drops that woke me up. And here's the detail few know. Carbohydrates aren't the enemy, but timing is everything. Our bodies process carbohydrates differently depending on the time of day. In the morning, when our cortisol is naturally higher, we can handle complex carbohydrates without problem. But at night, when our body should be preparing to rest and repair, carbohydrates can completely sabotage our sleep. The third revelation was perhaps the most humbling. For years, I had been believing I was hydrated. I drank coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, maybe a glass of water here and there. But the reality is that I was chronically dehydrated, and this dehydration was affecting every system in my body, including my ability to sleep deeply. When we're dehydrated, our body produces more histamine. This histamine can cause a cascade of problems, including sleep disruptions. Additionally, dehydration makes our blood thicker, which makes the heart's work harder and can cause those nighttime awakenings where we feel our heart racing. But here's the trick. It's not just about drinking more water. It's about drinking the right water, the right way, at the right time. I started my day with a large glass of water with a pinch of unrefined sea salt. This salt contains essential minerals that help our cells actually absorb the water, instead of just passing it through our system. During the day, I constantly drank filtered water, but I stopped drinking 2 hours before bed. This avoided those annoying awakenings to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And here's the secret that changed everything. I started adding trace minerals to my water. Our body needs more than just H2O. It needs magnesium, potassium, sodium, calcium. These minerals are like the sparks that ignite all the processes in our body, including our sleep cycles. The fourth transformation came when I finally understood the connection between my magnesium levels and my sleep. Magnesium is like the master mineral of relaxation. It's involved in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. It relaxes our muscles, calms our nervous system, regulates our sleep hormones, and the vast majority of people over 50 years old are magnesium deficient. I was no exception. Years of chronic stress had depleted my magnesium reserves. The medications I had taken also contributed to this deficiency. And modern food, grown in impoverished soils, simply doesn't contain the magnesium it used to have. I began supplementing with magnesium, specifically magnesium glycinate, which is the most absorbable form and least likely to cause digestive problems. I took 400 milligrams an hour before bed. The effect was like flipping a switch. My body could finally relax completely. My muscles stopped having those nighttime spasms. My mind stopped racing in infinite circles. I also incorporated Epsom salt baths twice a week. The skin absorbs magnesium directly, and those 20 minutes in warm water with salts became my sacred ritual. Not only was I replenishing my magnesium levels, I was also creating a space of deep relaxation that signaled to my body that it was time to start slowing down. But magnesium doesn't work alone. It needs vitamin D, vitamin K2, and calcium to function optimally. So I also made sure to get enough sun during the day, exposing myself at least 20 minutes to direct sunlight on my arms and legs. This natural vitamin D not only helped with magnesium absorption, it also regulated my natural circadian rhythm. The fifth and final revelation was what finally tied all the pieces of the puzzle together. Our bodies are designed to follow natural rhythms. Rhythms that have been perfected over millions of years of evolution. But modern society has completely destroyed these rhythms. Artificial lights late at night, irregular meal schedules, lack of exposure to natural light during the day, all of this profoundly confuses our body. I realized I had been living completely out of sync with natural rhythms. I looked at screens until minutes before bed. I didn't have a consistent sleep routine. I ate at different times each day. It was chaos, and my body was lost, not knowing when it should be awake and when it should sleep deeply. So I implemented what I call the Circadian Rhythm Protocol. Every morning, no matter what, I go out and get direct sunlight in my eyes within the first 30 minutes of waking. This light tells my brain it's daytime, that it's time to be awake and alert. It activates cortisol production at the right time, which eventually leads to melatonin production at the right time at night. I established fixed times for my meals. Breakfast at 8 in the morning, lunch at noon, dinner at 6 in the evening, every day at the same time. This gave my body a predictable pattern it could follow. My digestive system knew when to prepare. My metabolism knew when to speed up and when to slow down. 2 hours before my bedtime, I eliminate all blue light. No screens, no bright LED lights. I use dim lights, preferably candles or salt lamps. This allows my body to naturally begin producing melatonin. And here's the trick few know. Body temperature also plays a crucial role. I take a hot shower an hour before bed. When I get out, my body temperature naturally drops, and this drop is a powerful signal to my body that it's time to sleep. My bedroom became a sleep sanctuary. Completely dark, not a ray of light. Cool, around 18 degrees Celsius. Silent or with soft natural sounds like rain or ocean waves. No electronic devices, no television, no phone. Just a space designed specifically for one purpose: deep restorative sleep. And consistency was key. I go to bed at 10 at night and wake up at 6 in the morning every day, even on weekends. At first it was difficult. My body had been in chaos for so long that it took weeks to adjust. But I persisted because I knew this was exactly what my body needed. Now, I know what some are thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, many changes, too much effort. And you're right. These are significant changes. But let me ask you something. What's the cost of doing nothing? What's the price of continuing to wake up exhausted, irritable, aging prematurely, living a half-life because you're never fully rested? Lack of sleep isn't just a nuisance. It's a risk factor for virtually every chronic disease. Heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, obesity, depression. The list is endless. Every night we don't sleep deeply is a night our body can't fully repair itself, can't clean toxins from our brain, can't consolidate our memories, can't properly regulate our hormones. At 73 years old, I feel more vibrant and full of life than a decade ago. My skin has a glow it didn't have. My mind is clear and sharp. My energy is constant throughout the day. My joints no longer hurt. I've lost that extra weight I couldn't get rid of no matter how hard I tried. My blood pressure is perfect. My blood work is that of someone decades younger. And it all started with understanding why I was waking up at 3 in the morning. With listening to what my body was trying to tell me instead of silencing it with pills. With returning to the basic principles of health that our ancestors understood intuitively. I'm not saying these 5 changes will work for everyone exactly the same way. Every body is unique. Every situation is different. But these fundamental principles are universal. Supporting your liver, stabilizing your blood sugar, hydrating properly, optimizing your minerals, especially magnesium, and living in harmony with your natural circadian rhythms. These are the pillars of health that no human being can ignore without consequences. Modern medicine has its place, without a doubt. But we've moved so far away from the basic fundamentals of health that we now consider normal what is actually a sign of dysfunction. It's not normal to wake up at 3 in the morning. It's not normal to be exhausted all the time. It's not normal to need 5 cups of coffee just to function. It's not normal to not be able to sleep without medications. What is normal, what is natural, is to sleep deeply all night, wake up renewed, have stable energy during the day, feel good in your own body. This is what our bodies were designed to experience. But we have to give them the right tools, the right environment, the right support. And here's the most beautiful truth of all. It's never too late. At 73 years old, I was able to reverse decades of bad habits and dysfunctional patterns. If I could do it, anyone can. Your body has an incredible capacity to heal itself when you give it what it needs. It's waiting eagerly for the opportunity to show you what it's capable of. These 5 things, cleansing my liver physically and emotionally, stabilizing my blood sugar, hydrating properly with minerals, optimizing my magnesium, and living in sync with my natural circadian rhythms, didn't just improve my sleep. They transformed every aspect of my life. My health, my energy, my mental clarity, my relationships, my ability to enjoy life, everything improved dramatically. And the most incredible thing is that none of these things require expensive medical prescriptions or complicated treatments. They're simple, accessible, and within reach of anyone willing to do the work. They require commitment. Yes, they require consistency, absolutely. But the results are worth every ounce of effort. So if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, if you feel your body is aging faster than it should, if you're tired of being tired, listen. Your body is talking to you. It's sending signals, asking for help. And now you have the map. You have the tools. You have the knowledge that changed my life forever. The question now is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to keep it as another interesting but forgettable fact? Or are you going to take action? Because I promise you, when you finally sleep through the entire night without interruptions, when you wake up feeling truly rested for the first time in years, when you rediscover what it means to have real and sustained energy, you'll understand that this isn't just about sleeping better. It's about reclaiming your life. It's about becoming the most vibrant, healthy, and alive version of yourself again. And that's worth everything.